Welcome, friends, to another performance of BYO Shakespeare. I am your host, Sock Mabel, the official, unofficial mascot and starlet on the rise of BYO Shakespeare. We are friends and colleagues who have spent quarantine and shelter in place reading the works of William Shakespeare together on Zoom. And now we bring a taste of our adventures to you, streaming live from our living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, bathrooms, and so on. This is live theater happening at home. And like live theater, sometimes the unexpected happens. You may hear one of our pets, or sirens from nearby, or occasionally technology may be uncooperative. We humbly ask you for your patience with any such issues. But because this is happening at home and live on YouTube, you are also welcome to participate by using the YouTube Live chat feature and enjoying a beverage or a snack at any point. As always, donations to support our ongoing efforts are gratefully appreciated but not required. I'll post links in the chat later so that you can send funds directly to our Chaos Monster in Chief. Tonight, we offer you one of the bard's later works, The Tempest, and we will take one 15-minute intermission. Now, buckle your seatbelts or whatever you wear to keep from falling off a boat and onto a deserted Mediterranean island as BYO Shakespeare proudly presents William Shakespeare's The Tempest. Act 1, Scene 1. A tempestuous noise of thunder and lightning is heard. Enter a boatswain.
Hi, my hearts! Cheerily! Cheerily, my heart! Take in the topsail! Tend to the master's whistle! Blow till thy burst thy wind, if room enough!
Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Ferdinand, Gonzalo, and others.
Good boatswain, have care. Where's the master? Play them in.
Pray now, keep below!
Where is the master, boatswain?
Did you not hear me? You mar our labor. Keep to your cabins. You do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is. Hence, who cares for these roarers of the name of the king? To cabin and silence. Trouble us not.
Good, yet remember who thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give me what you have lived, give thanks you have lived so long, and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap. Cheerily, good hearts! Out of our way, I say.
Boatswain exits.
Great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good faith, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
He exits with Alonso, Sebastian, and the other quarters. Re-enter boatswain.
Down with the topmast! Yar! Lower! Lower! Bring her to try with the main course.
Ah!
A plague on all this howling. They are louder than the weather or our office.
Enter Sebastian, Antonio, and Gonzalo.
Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
I'll pox your throat, you brawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog.
Work you then.
Anchor! Hang, you whoreson, insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
Warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Lay her a hold! A hold! Set her 2 courses. Off to sea again, lay her off!
All is lost.
All is lost. Help us.
Must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince are at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I am out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards, this wine-chopped rascal. Wouldst thou hadst lie drowning the washing of 10 tides?
You'll
Both
be
of us
hanged
said-
yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at wits to glut him.
We split! We split!
Farewell.
Let's all sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him. Exits with Antonio.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground. Long heath, brown furs, anything. The wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
Gonzalo exits. Scene 2. Enter Prospero and Miranda.
If by your heart, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel, who had no doubt some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frotting souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm? I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Wipe thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betide to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee open thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou was not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything, the image. Tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark, backward abysm of time, if thou rememberest best aught ere thou camest here? How thou camest here thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. And thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess no worse issue.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed was't we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly hope hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think o' the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you farther.
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the marriage of my state, as at that time through all the signories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Oh, sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overstepping, you created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else you formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts the same state to which tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure aunant. Thou attainst not.
Oh, a good sir, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but by being so retired, overprized all popular rate, in my false brother awakened an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound. He being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward force of royalty with all prerogative. Hence, his ambition growing, dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
Have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs be absolute villain. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties, he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with the king of Naples to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbound. Alas, poor Millen, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark this condition and the event. Then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Millen with all the honors on my brother. Whereupon a treacherous army levied one midnight, fated to the purpose did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and into the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Alack for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now is upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colors fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bored us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim thou wast, that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with the fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt under my burden groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of his design, did give us with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much. So, of his gentleness, knowing I love my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise, sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heavens thank you for it. And now, I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this storm.
Know thus forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness. Give it way. I know thou canst not choose.
Miranda falls asleep. Prospero puts on his cloak.
Come away, servant. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
Ariel enters.
Ah, hail, great master, grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds. To thy strong bidding, task Ariel and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck. In every cabin I blamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit would I flame distinctly. Then meet and join Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, were momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son, Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son I have landed by himself, whom I have left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed beer moothes. There she's hid. The mariners are all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again and are upon the Mediterranean afloat, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wracked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time 'twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou didst give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, Moody? What is it thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time is out? No more.
My prithee. Remember, I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinkst it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp winds of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Argier.
Oh, was she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgettest. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Argier, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee, by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou did painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels shake. Then was this island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban, whom now I keep in service. Thou best knowst what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of ever-hungry bears. Was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spreading gently.
Do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, and hither come into it. Go, hence, with diligence.
Ariel exits.
Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
Miranda wakes.
Oh, the strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us good answer.
Oh, 'tis a villain, sir. I do not love to look on.
But, as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban, thou earth, thou speak.
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come, thou portus, when?
Enter Ariel, appearing like a water nymph.
Fine apparition, my quaint Ariel, hark in thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Ariel exits.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself, upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
Enter Caliban.
As wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven feather from unwholesome fen, drop upon you both. A southwest blow you and blister you all o'er.
For this, be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramped side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall forth at fast of night, that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou first came, thou strokest me and made much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light and the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs and the brine pits, barren places and the fertile. Cursed be that I did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats light on you, for I am all the subjects that you have, who was first mine own king. And here you sty in this hard rock whilst you keep me from the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move not kindness, I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, would that it had been done! Thou didst prevent me. Oh, I had peopled else this isle with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other. When thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish, I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, thou didst learn, had that in which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hag seed, hence, fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Thou best to answer other business. Shrugg'st thou malice? If thou neglectst or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee. I must obey. His art is of such power, it would control my dam's god, Setebos, and make a vassal of him.
Caliban exits. Enter Ferdinand and Ariel Invisible playing and singing.
Come unto these yellow sands and then take hands. Curtsied when you have and kiss the wild waves with. For to see thee here and dance, sweet sights bear the burden heart. Hark, bow wow, the watchdogs bark. Bow wow, hark, hark, I hear the strain of shouting chanter clear. Cried cock-a-doodle-doo.
Where should this music be? In the air? Or the earth? It sounds no more, and sure it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wrack, this music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
So fathom find thy father lies, of his bones a coral made. Those opals that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, or doth suffer us he change into something rich and strange. See nymphs only ring his knell, ding dong, hark now I hear them, ding dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtain of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yon.
It a spirit? Lord, how it looks about! Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench. It eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have. Such. This gallant, which thou seest, was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows, and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine. Her sauce so noble.
Goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will give some good instruction how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens, I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the King of Naples heard this?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes, never since at ebb, beheld the king my father racked.
Alack for mercy!
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan, and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight, they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir? I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Oh, why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity move my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin, and your affection's not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir, one word more. They are both in either's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest who like winning makes the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on it.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me. Speak not for him, he's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks within the acorn cradled. Follow?
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Ferdinand draws his sword, but is charmed from moving.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What, I say, my foot, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor. Who makes to show, but durst not strike, thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick, and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hands hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity. I'll be his surety.
Silence. One word more shall make me chide thee, not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush. Thou thinkst there is no more such shape, says he, having seen but him and Caliban? Foolish wench. To the most of men, this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to seek a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in thy infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits as in a dream are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wreck of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, all corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark, what else thou shalt do to me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwanted which now came from him.
Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
They exit. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, and Adrian.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, and joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, if few in millions can speak like us, then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give any more, so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir.
1. Tell.
When every grief is entertained that's offered, come to the entertainer,
$1.
dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I intended.
Therefore, my lord,
Fie, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee, spare.
I have done, but yet
He will be talking.
Which? Of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. The wager.
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
So you're paid.
uninhabitable, and almost inaccessible,
Yet.
He could not miss it.
it must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and a subtle, as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fan.
here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
The ground, indeed, is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afrique, as the marriage of the king's fair daughter Carabel to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since widow Dido's time.
Widow? A pot for that. How came that widow in? Widow Dido.
What if he had said widower Aeneas, too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you? You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was of Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous farm.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more islands.
Aye.
Why, in good time.
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Base, I beseech you, widow Dido.
Oh, widow Dido. Aye, widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into my ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost. And in my rage she too is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er again shall see her. Oh, thou, mine heir of Naples and Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head of the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms and lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him, I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, no. He's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she is at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself, weighed between loathness and obedience, at the which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the lost.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most chirurgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, lord?
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
And were the king on it, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
In the commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, wine, or oil. No occupation. All men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have. But nature should bring forth of its own kind all force and all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying amongst his subjects.
None, man, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mock me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we that.
Oh, who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you, so you may consume and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are gentlemen of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue it in 5 weeks without changing.
Enter Ariel Invisible playing solemn music. We would so, and then go about fouling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
Oh, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Oh, will you laugh me asleep, for I am very heavy.
Please, you're up.
All sink down asleep except Alonso, Antonio, and Sebastian.
What? All so soon asleep? Oh, I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow, and when it doth, it is a comforter.
Me too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest, and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
Alonso sleeps, and Ariel exits. What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all, as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? Oh, what might! No more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
You not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou dost say? That this is a strange repose. To be asleep, with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep. I rather winks while thou art.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me, which to do trebles thee o'er.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whiles thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run, by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this, who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade. The king's his son's alive. Ah, 'tis it's impossible that he's undrowned, as he that sleeps there swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope that way is another way, so high a hope, that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who is the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis, she that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life, she that from Naples can have no note, unless the sun were post. The man of the moon's too slow, till newborn shins be rough and razorable, she that from whom we were all sea swallowed, so some cast again, by that destiny to perform an act, whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis. So she heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say, this were death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than they now are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps, lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a chow of as deep chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement? Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True, and look how well my garments sit upon me, much sweeter than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows, now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
Aye, sir, where lies that? If Turek hide, 'twould put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever, whiles you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink for I, might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gottest Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word. Enter, Ariel, invisible, with music and song.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth. For else his project dies, to keep them living. While you hear the snoring lie open, I can see his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake up thunder and beware, awake, awake!
And let us both be sudden.
Rise
Oh, good angels, preserve the king!
Why, how now, ho? Awake? Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
Oh, what's the matter?
Whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls or rather lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon my honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. As mine eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise. That's verily. 'Tis best we stand our ground. Oh, that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All exit. Scene 2. Enter Caliban with a burden of wood. A noise of thunder is heard.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs and fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inchmeal a disease. Spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin blows, pitch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless he bid them. But for every trifle they are set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and sometimes bite me, and then like hedgehogs, which lie tumbling in my barefoot way and mount their pricks in my footfall. Sometimes I'm all wounded with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. No, now, lo! Here comes a spirit of his to torment me for bringing the wood so slowly. I'll fall flat. Perchance he will not mind me.
Caliban lies down and covers himself with a cloak. Enter Trinculo.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm's brewing, I hear it sing on the wind. Yond same black cloud, yond huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yond same cloud cannot choose but to fall by pailfuls. What have we here? Man or a fish? Dead or alive? A fish. He smells like a fish. A very ancient and fish-like smell. Kind of not of the newest, poor John. Strange fish. Were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there would give a silver piece. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man, and his fins look like arms. Warm, oh my troth, I do now let loose my opinion, hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Alas, the storm is come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with such strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the storm dregs be past.
Trinculo crawls under Caliban's cloak. Enter Stefano singing.
I shall no more to see, here shall I die, sure. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. Oh. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Moll, Megan, Marian, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not the savor of tar nor of pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where'er she did itch. Then to sea boys and let her go hang. This is a scurvy tune too, but here's my comfort.
Do not torment me.
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon us with savages? Oh, I have not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs, for it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground, and shall be said so again while Stefano breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me.
Oh, this is some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, I take it, an ague. Where the devil shall he learn our language? I will give him some relief if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that e'er trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring the wood home faster.
He's in his fit now and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he have never drunk wine before, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me a little hurt. Thou wilt anon, I know thee by thy trembling. Now prosper works upon thee.
Come on your ways, open your mouth. Oh, this will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me!
4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is so utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Oh, come. Amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano?
Just thy other mouth, call me. Mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoons.
Stefano, if thou beest Stefano, touch me and speak, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend, Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by thy lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How canst thou be the siege of this mooncalf? Can he vent Trinculos?
I took him to be killed with thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stefano? I hope thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano, 2 Neapolitans escaped.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, if they be not sprites. That is a brave god, and bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard, by this bottle which I made out of the bark of the tree with mine own hands, since I was cast ashore.
Swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
Swum ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stefano, hast thou any more of this?
The whole butt, then. My cellar's in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf, how does this ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee. and my dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I afeard of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most poor credulous monster. Well drawn monster, in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee be my God.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When's God's asleep, he'll rob the bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then down. Swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A most scurvy monster. I could find it in my heart to beat him.
Come. Kiss.
But that the poor monster's in drink. An abominable monster.
Fill thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. Plague on the tyrant I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks. Follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
Prithee, let me bring thee where the crabs grow, and I with my long nails will dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee on how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to thy clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get the young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee now, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all our company else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Fellow Trinculo will fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
A howling monster, a drunken monster.
No more dams I'll make for Fitch, nor fetch in the firing at requiring, but nor trench, scape, centering, and nor stish. Ben Calaban has a new master. Hi, freedom. Hi-day, freedom, freedom.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
They exit. End of Act 2. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter Ferdinand, bearing a log.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kind of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This my mean task would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work and says such baseness had never like executor. I forget. But these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors most busiest when I do it.
Enter Miranda and Prospero observing from a distance.
Alas, now pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you are enjoined to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my good will is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda? Oh, my father, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda, indeed the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex, no woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are abroad I am skilless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape beside yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient log man.
Do you love me?
O heaven, O earth, bear witness to the sound, and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true, if hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief. I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will it or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then.
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ere freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine with my heart in it. And now farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
They exit.
So glad of this, as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal. But my rejoicing in nothing can be more. Out to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Prospero exits. Scene 2. Enter Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water. Not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there are but 5 on this isle, and we be 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thine eyes were almost in thy head.
Where should they be set else? You were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 35 leagues off and on by this light. Thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list, he's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
Nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life if thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He's not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am a case to justle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou! Was there ever man a coward that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half fish and half monster?
Oh, how he mocks me! Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, what a monster should be such a natural.
Oh, again! Bite him to death, I prithee!
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. Poor monster is my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank thee, noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, will I. Kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
Enter Ariel invisible.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, that by his cunning hath cheated me from this island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey! Thou, I would, my valiant master, destroy thee. I did not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in his tail by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Mum, then, and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery he got this isle. From me he got it. If thy greatness will, revenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord, I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayst knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pied ninny's this, thou scurvy patch? I do beseech thee, greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he'll drink naught but brine, for I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
What? I did nothing. I'll go farther off.
Did thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take thou that. As you like this, give me the lie another name.
Did not give the lie. Out of your wits and hearing too. A pox on your bottle. This can sack and drinking do. A murrain on your monster. And the devil take your fingers.
Now forward with your tale. Prithee stand further off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand further. Come, proceed.
Well, as I told thee, it is a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst brain him, having first seized all his books. or with a log, batter his skull, or punch him with the stake, or cut his wizen with a knife. Oh, remember first to possess the books, for without them he's but a sot, as I am, and nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books, his brave utensils, or so he calls them, which, when he has a house, he'll deck withal, and that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nonpareil. I never saw a woman, but only Sycorax, my dam, and she far surpassed Sycorax, as greatest does least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Aye, Lord, she will become my bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth a brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen, save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this hour's half, within this half hour, he will be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This will I tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let's be jocund. Will you troll the catch you taught me there but withal?
At thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come, Trinculo, let us sing. Flout him and
Flout him and
count him,
scout him and flaunt him,
thought is free.
That's not the tune.
What does this say?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest the devil, take as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Oh, mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster. Not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sweet sounds, and airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twinkling instruments will hum about my ears, and sometimes voices that, if I had then waked after a long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop on me. And then when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going that way. Let's follow it and after do our work.
Lead, monster. Will you follow? I would I could see this taborer. He lays it on. Wilt come?
I'll follow, Stefano.
They exit. Scene 3. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, and Adrian.
I reckon I can go no further, sir. My old bones aches. There's a maze trodden deep through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so artful. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that you resolve to effect.
The next advantage will we take throughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are oppressed with travelers. They will not, nor cannot, use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more. Solemn and strange music. Enter Prospero at the top, invisible.
What harmony is this, my good friends? Hark!
Marvelous, sweet music.
Enter several shapes, bringing in a banquet, and dance about it with gentle actions of salutations.
Give us kind keepers, heavens, what were these?
A living drollery. Now will I believe there's unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And the also on credit. Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn them.
Naples, I should report this now. Would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, asserts these are people of the island, who, though they are of monster shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind than of our human generation you shall find. Nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse. Such shape, such gesture, such sound expressing, although they want use of a tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
Inviting the king and all to eat, the shapes depart.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will it please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dewlapped like bulls whose throats had them hanging wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for one will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the duke, stand to and do as we.
Alonso, Sebastian, and Antonio move towards the table. Thunder and lightning. Enter. Ariel, like a heartbeat, claps wings upon the table, and with the great device, the banquet vanishes.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it, the never-surfeited sea hath caused to belch up you. And on this island where man doth not inhabit, you, amongst men, being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools, I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with their mocked at, stabs, kill the still closet waters as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requite it, him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your head, is nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Ariel vanishes in thunder.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. The grace it had, devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say. So, with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, And in these fits I leave them while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
Prospero exits.
Something holy, sir. Why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. I thought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prosper. It did best my trespass. Therefore my son in the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time I'll fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
They exit.
Oh, 3 of them are desperate. Their great guilt like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of supple joints, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
They all exit. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Prospero, Ferdinand, and Miranda.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends, for I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here afore heaven I ratify this my rich gift. Oh, Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast of her, but thou shalt find she will outstrip, raise, and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then, as my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But thou dost break her virgin not before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered. No sweet aspersions shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathy that you shall hate it both. Therefore take heed. As Hymen's lamps shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den with the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion our worser genius can shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration, when I shall think, or Phoebus' steeds are foundered, or night kept chained below.
Fairly spoke. Sit then, talk with her. She's thine own. Wilt thou be true? Do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw to the fire and the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night or vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white cold virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
Well, now, come, my children.
Let me live here ever. So rare a wondered father and a wise makes this place paradise.
I forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels are now ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with the sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you peace.
They exit. Enter Ariel.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel. Come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban. Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir. They were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending toward their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted their noses as they smelt music. I charmed their ears, that calf-like, they my lowing followed through toothed briars, sharp furzes, pricking gorse, and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to their chins that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither for stale to catch these thieves.
Presently,
I, with Twink.
before you can say come and go and breathe twice and cry so, each one tripping on his toe will be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, master? No?
Delicately, my delicate Ariel.
Well, I conceive. I go.
Ariel exits.
Devil, a born devil on whose nurture could never stick, on whom my pains, humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring.
Ariel re-enters with glistering apparel.
Come, hang them on the line.
Enter Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo, all wet as Prospero and Ariel look on.
Pray you, tread softly. That blind mole may not hear a footfall. We are now near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Thou wert but a lost monster.
My lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
Well, there is not only disgrace and dishonor in those, monster, but an infinite loss.
There's more to me than my wedding, yet this is your harmless fairy, monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I bear your ears for my labor.
Thee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of his cell. No noise, and enter. Do this good mischief which will make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand, I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stefano, oh peer, oh worthy Stefano, look what wardrobe here is for thee.
Leave it alone, fool, it is trash.
Oh ho, monster, we know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stefano.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
The drops thee on this fool. What do you mean to dote on such luggage? Let it alone and do the murder first. If he awake from toe to crown, he'll fill our skins with inches and
Be
make
you
us strange
quiet,
stuff.
monster. Mistress Line, is this not my jerkin? Now is the jerkin under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and at your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here is a garment for it, which shall not go unrewarded while I am king of this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent passive plate. There's another garment for it.
Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I will none of it. Oh, we'll lose our time and be all turned to barnacles or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bear this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Oh, go to and carry this.
And this.
A noise of hunters is heard. Enter diverse spirits in shapes of dogs and hounds, hunting them about. Prospero and Ariel setting them on.
Hey, Mountain, hey!
Silver, there it goes, Silver!
Fury, there! Tyrant, there! Hark, hark!
Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo are driven off.
Go, charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than Pard or Catamountain.
They roar.
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little, follow and do me service.
They exit. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Prospero in his magic robes and Ariel.
Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work would cease.
I did say so when first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them. All prisoners, sir, in the Lion Grove, which weather fends your cell. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly him that you termed, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works them that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Ariel exits.
You elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and you that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him when he comes back, you demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the ewe not bites, and you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong-braced promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, opened and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book.
Solemn music. Here enters Ariel as before, then Alonso with a frantic gesture, attended by Gonzalo, Sebastian and Antonio in like manner, attended by Adrian. They all enter the circle which Prospero had made, which Prospero, observing them charmed, speaks.
A solemn air, and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy. Cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for you are spell stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, thine eyes insociable to the show of thine fall fellow late drops. Charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. Oh, good Gonzalo, my true preserver and a loyal sir, to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pitched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood. You, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse and nature, whom with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. Do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them that looks yet on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the rapier in my cell.
Ariel exits and returns with Prospero's ducal robes.
I will discase me and myself present, as I was sometime in Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Ariel sings and helps to attire him.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip there I lie. There I couch when owls do fly. On the bat's back I do fly. After summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now merrily. Under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
And that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So, for the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place, and presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me, and return, or Ariel pulse twice beat.
Ariel exits.
Oh, torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body. And to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Where thou beest, he or no, or some enchanted rival to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood. Since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear madness held me. This must crave, and if this be at all a most strange story, thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
This be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness's frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation. How hast thou met us here, whom 3 hours since were racked upon this shore, where I have lost how sharp the point of this remembrance is. My dear son Ferdinand.
I'm woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace, for the like loss, I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You, the like loss?
Great to me, late, insupportable to make the dear loss have I means much weaker than you can call to comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh, heavens, that they were both living in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were, I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath. But howsoever you have been jostled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very duke which was thrust forth of Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were racked was landed to be the lord on it. No more yet of this. It is a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This cell's my court. Here have I few attendants, and subjects none abroad. Pray you, look in. My dukedom, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing. At least bring forth a wonder to content you as much as me my dukedom.
Here, Prospero reveals Ferdinand and Miranda playing chess.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
This prove a vision of the island. One dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
New to you.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that hath served us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life, and second father this lady makes him to me.
I am hers, but oh, how oddly it will sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
Vinley wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, that his issue should become king of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife where he himself was lost. Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us saw ourselves where no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Amen, be it so, amen.
Enter Ariel with the boatswain amazedly following.
Oh, look, sir, here is more of us. I prophesied that if gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now, blasphemy that swears grace overboard, not an oath on shore. Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news that we could have safely found our king and company. The next our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave our outsplit, is tight and yar and bravely rigged just when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, where even but now, with the strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awaked straightway at liberty, and where we, in all our trim, freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her. On a trice, so please you, even in a dream we divided from them and were brought among moping hither.
Boatswain exits.
Was it well done?
Bravely, my diligence. Thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod. There is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At picked leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable of every these happened accidents. Till when, be cheerful and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Let Caliban and his companions free, untie the spell.
Ariel exits.
How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Enter Ariel driving in Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo in their stolen apparel.
Every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio.
If these be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, Setebos, these are brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is. I fear he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very much. Well, it is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, deal in her command without her power. These 3 have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is this not Stefano, my drunken butler?
He's drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded him on? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear it will never be out my bones. I shall not fear fly bowing.
Why, how now, Stefano?
Oh, touch me not. I am not Stefano, but a cramp.
You be king of the isle, Sirrah?
I should have been a sore one then.
And this is a strange thing as e'er I looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, Sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter and seek for grace. Ugh, what a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away!
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather. Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo exit.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as, I not doubt, shall make it go quick away. The story of my life and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn, I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these, our dear beloved, solemnized, and thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm sea, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements, be free, and fare thou well. Please you, draw near.
All exit.
Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have is mine own, which is most faint. Now, 'tis true, I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant. My ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself, frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
Prospero exits. End of show. And now let's see our wonderful cast.
Hi, I'm Lillian Murphy, and I played Adrian.
Hi, I'm Catherine Dallin, and I played Sebastian.
Phil Arquette playing Antonio.
I'm Kathy O'Shaughnessy, and I played Alonzo.
I'm Stan DeSweikel, and I played Gonzalo.
I'm Alana Spencer, and I was Trinculo.
I'm Julie Kelleher, and I played Stefano.
I'm Lauren Schneider, and I was Caliban and the bosun.
I'm Sarah Ann Sutter, and I was Ferdinand.
Hello, I'm Jamie Briette, and I played Miranda.
I'm Rudolph, and I played Ariel.
I'm Aaron Hunt, and I was Prospero.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope you've had a wonderful time. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to put them in the YouTube chat. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you what show we are doing next. And that's right, friends. We will be performing Macbeth on Saturday, October 31st. So make us a part of your Halloween plans and plan to get spooky with us. We're planning some fun for in the Facebook event as well, so that you can get in on some of the costume fun and enjoy your time with us. All right. I don't think I've seen anything pop up with questions. So I think we're probably about done. I will throw in the comments some info on how to support us financially if there's anything that you want to do. Thank you all so much for being here, and we hope that you will be back to join us October 31st.